We started conferencing because marking was having very little effect on the children's progress. Conferencing is the same as marking, but you're verbally telling the children how they can improve. They weren't taking notice of the writing, often they weren't reading it, and it was having little impact. Whereas verbally, they do understand it, they do take it in, you can keep on talking to the children until they do understand it, therefore it's having more impact. Over the years, marking has got more and more unmanageable. So not only do we do ticks and crosses, but then we started to do green highlighter for good words and good sentences, and then we did a pink highlighter for phrases that could be improved upon. Then we started to do a pink pen if the children had edited it themselves. Teachers were writing a paragraph at the end of a child's story as to how that could be improved. Children were asked to go back and respond to the teacher's marking, so it was getting more and more unmanageable. I read something on the Education Endowment Fund which told me that feedback should be having the most influence on children's progress. So I read a little bit more to find out more about verbal feedback. And so we decided to do conferencing, which was 10 minutes to 15 minutes with every child once a fortnight. So 3 children a day. And that has had a massive impact. I was always concerned about teachers' work-life balance and the cases that they used to take home on wheels with all their books in, and it was a heavy burden that teachers carried all of the time.
I believe that conferencing has made a huge difference to my work-life balance. I'm able to leave at 4:30, 5 o'clock without taking a laptop home, without taking 30 books home. I'm able to get home, sit and have a chat with my family without then having to go to bed at 8:30 because I am so tired. It's freed my life up that if I did want to go out one evening for dinner, I can, because I'm not having to say, sorry, I've got 30 books to mark. It's made me happier as a teacher, and because we've been given that chance to give feedback in a different way, I'm proud to teach where I teach.
I prefer conferencing because marking, you just couldn't read anything. It just said, you got this right or you got this wrong.
I think that the relationship between you and the teacher is definitely better from conferencing, because you get to know the teacher more and what they like about your work and what they think you can improve on.
One thing that needs to be understood about conferencing is there seems to be the misconception that people believe we are not looking at the children's books, and therefore what is the importance of children doing the work in their books. However, it needs to be understood that we are constantly looking at the books after lessons. In our planning meetings as teams, we're going through the work that the children have done, and before our conferencing sessions, so that we know what the areas are that we're going to focus on, rather than going in blinded and wasting that golden 10 minutes that we have with that child.
Parents do tell us that the children do go home and share what they learnt at conferencing. I think what's important is to keep talking with the teachers. So sort of every month we sit down with the teachers as a staff meeting and say who's got top tips about conferencing, and we've put them up in the staff room as to top tips. One of them, for example, was to be really organised with the 3 books of the 3 children they were going to do that day. After school, what we see here now is instead of teachers huddled together marking, they're actually talking about their lessons of the next day. They still look in children's books. They still decide by looking in children's books what the lessons need to be for the next day, but they're not spending hours marking those books. So they're then planning differently. There's more time to get the resources for the lessons. So actually the teaching has gone up. The quality of teaching has gone up as a result. We weren't expecting that, but that's been a fantastic outcome.